So Costas, one of the things that you talk about in the book, which I really like, I think people lose sight of, is this customer-centric approach of understanding the problem, understanding the context and those kind of things. How does a company start to go about doing that? So sort of innovating with the customer in mind rather than for the sake of it, as it were.
Yeah, actually that's probably the simplest thing to achieve, and the key is to have people within the business interact with consumers, their customers themselves. Even if it's only like once a year, ideally more often than that of course, but just interact with them personally, because what, particularly say in large blue chips, people tend to lose sight of is the fact of how different they are from their average consumer. I've worked with people who are responsible for big laundry brands who basically work 12-hour days sitting at a desk and never do their own laundry. How are they going to know what probably the housewife in a particular household has as needs and motivations around getting their laundry done better? And what they rely on instead is second-hand, third-hand, fourth-hand information of what's actually going on in that consumer's life. So shortening that distance, that's really where it starts. It's that simple, really. There is no more to that.
And how do you do it? So how do you achieve it? So if you've got your team responsible for innovation, for brand development, for product development within a business, how do you create meaningful interactions that aren't full? You know, you can obviously put two people in a room together for half an hour and that's not, so how does that
So I think there's probably the rule of three, that you always use three different sources of information when you're working on a particular innovation task, for example, or on a particular project. And you rotate that all the time. So you don't do the same type of information or information gathering over and over, because then you basically get, well, paraphrasing Einstein, only a fool will believe that then delivers new results. So it's literally scheduling, probably, scheduling an interaction to happen on a regular basis beyond just commissioning it out to research teams who will then do it for you. No, actually go out yourself to speak to people who interact with your product and who care about your product. Because that's also the misunderstanding very often, is that people sit at their desk thinking that the whole world thinks their product is as interesting as they think it is. Well, they don't. And actually even heavy users probably don't care much about your product either. But there are people out there, probably about 10% of the people using your product, who actually genuinely care, because they're frustrated by the category, they're looking for improvements all the time. Those are the people you should be talking to. And they're easy to find because they're loud. They're sitting on forums making a noise about the category and complaining maybe. And then it's just a question of picking out the people that actually, well, have a little bit of a creative mind, who can actually help you think about how to do it better. But again, you have to start by opening up a channel direct to that consumer, to that user, because otherwise it's just going to be someone else's opinion you're working on.